Deadpool and Wolverine is the best Marvel film in a long time. But is it enough to say that Marvel is back? Hey, what's up, nerd fam? This is your boy Gashan. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today, we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. This is a bit of a review. Warning for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, there will be a bit of spoilers, so I would say turn it off if you're scared of that. If you've already seen it, or you don't really mind having spoilers, keep on watching. Let's get into it. So, obviously, upon hearing of this movie, watching the trailer, my initial thoughts are, this is most likely going to be entertaining. And a lot of people saw the trailer and go, oh my God, this looks amazing. Marvel has to be back. And when I hear that, what I think of being back means that MCU is back to being quality. But honestly, in order to really understand, or I'll say to really say that statement, in my opinion, there would have to be consistent quality, consistent good films. And this is just one. I will say that, like I thought, this is an entertaining film. It was absolutely hilarious. Some things that you're going to see, obviously, from the first and second Deadpool film, hilarious. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have great chemistry together. It's as far as the plot, I will say, out of the three films, the plot is the weakest because it depended so much on the cameos and just a lot of happenstance to make those cameos and stuff like that happen, versus 1 and 2, the first two Deadpool films, having their own internal plots. So they were stronger films to stand on their own, but this relied a lot on fan service. Was the fan service cool and clever? For example, some of my favorite stuff was watching the different variants of Wolverine get sought after, and getting the chance to see Patch. And my favorite was the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, which I love. First of all, I love everything Age of Apocalypse. I love that. And I love that costume. They got the hair right and everything. It was so cool to see that. To watch the John Byrne Wolverine, like get the tan and like that brown suit, and even showing him very briefly fighting the Hulk, like way too brief. I wish we could have stayed there for a couple more seconds just so we can see something, but I guess it was just a reference, and plus it was probably very expensive. The whole movie, there were a lot of things in that movie that I can tell were expensive, the cameos being one of them, right? Also, the whole thing that was rumored about Henry Cavill portraying a Wolverine, absolutely. A very large Wolverine. Like, Wolverine is already, as far as Hugh Jackman is already like pretty jacked, but like Henry Cavill was gigantic in that. And obviously that was rumored, so that was true. And a lot of the cameos that were in there were really Fox-based cameos. The Fox films. And obviously there was a lot of saying goodbye to that entire universe after that stuff got absorbed by Disney. So, because the bar is so low when it comes to these Disney films, the Disney MCU films, this was amazing in comparison. So I think a lot of people might have a hard time compartmentalizing and understand that a lot of their feeling is because they've been getting a lot of just trash. This, in comparison to, like, let's just say the prime of the MCU, would still be a solid film, but it would not be the highest of tiers. But it's good, it's entertaining, and I would rewatch it just because it's funny and it has those moments that I was just telling you about. Like, it's a solid film. It's not bad on any scale. The plot, like I said, was weak. It was weak, and a lot of it also is because of the damn TVA, which I think is just the way they've done it. Because obviously at TVA, they're also in the comic. But it's done differently. It's done well. I'll say that. It's done much better than it is here. And it's just weak. It's a weak linchpin to this whole thing. Now, what does this movie tell you about the rest of the MCU going forward? Not much of anything, because this kind of seems self-contained, which is okay for me, but you can't then say the MCU is back, because the team that's making this what work went into this is not the same that's going on to the other stuff. And somebody might go, well, how do you know? I mean, you can just look at the team. Sean Levy, Ryan, all those people, they care about that. Like, they care about these characters in such a way. That's why you saw the most, except for the hype, a whole bunch of very direct comic references in this, where we might not really ever see anywhere else in the MCU, right? For better or worse. But like, look at the upcoming films, like the Captain America, was it New World Order? I think. Hopefully, I'm saying I got that right. Look at that. Does it have shades of Winter Soldier stuff? Sure, because that's the type of movie that Captain America should be. But it still remains to be seen. Even like including the Red Hulk in it, it's just kind of strange to me. And I'm hearing Adamantium is going to get introduced. I don't know. We have to see how that film goes. And then some new developments, which I'm literally going to make a video about separately. The new casting developments when it comes to Doctor Doom in, Avengers Doomsday, you know, that being Robert Downey Jr. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. We're going to go have a separate one because that's very interesting, just to put it lightly, right? But this movie is solid. It's entertaining. Plot is weak, but at least you understood what they were trying to do, and it's much better than what we got in the last few years. It's worth going to see it. It's worth having a good time with your friends. That's awesome. I went to the movies. The lines were crazy. Like, it's worth it. It's worth your time going to see. I would say that. But did it bring back a lot of other people who had lost interest in an MCU? Out of my immediate friends, I got like, let's just say, the editor right now, right, who is on the fence about going to see it. He's on the fence about that because he's since lost faith, and I understood that. One of my other friends, Kenneth, didn't even look at any of the trailers when it comes to that, and he was also, once again, used to check for that. But then I got my boy Taylor, who is on and off, but went to go see it like I did, because there was some movies I didn't go see, but we knew that this one was going to at least be entertaining. And then my other guy, Ronnie, who's about to go see it. So even though that's anecdotal, because that's just my friends group, you know, just about half are willing to go see it and are not. So we can imagine that maybe in the general populace, there's some people who goes, oh, it's probably going to be cool, but I just don't really want to see it. And maybe even some of the general public might go, I'm just tired because all the rest of these films were weird. And then there's a whole bunch of others that just went to go, I love it. I've never given up on it, and I just want Marvel to do good again. I think this movie is going to make, at the very least, 500 to 600 million. It could do more. I'm just gonna, that's the least I see it making. Not the most, but it's gonna make money. It's gonna make money. And it should. I think it should. I think they really tried the best. You could tell they cared about what they were doing. I'll say that. Even if I don't think the execution was perfect. I don't. One more thing. Kevin Feige said that this was the age of mutants after this film, which is weird because isn't Kamala, didn't they say she was a mutant? Didn't they literally, after saying that her parentage was something, they literally played the 90s, like a version of the 90s X-Men theme behind it? So how aren't we already in the age of mutants when you introduce a mutant? Whatever. And sometimes we kind of just have to take Feige with a grain of salt, which is crazy because he's the one that's constructing or orchestrating the universe. Whatever. Let's talk about this in the comments if you like it or not. And to the nerd.